when it comes to you making those videos, would you say like the first thing that comes to your head is like an idea, or like you're just playing the game and you immediately feel like, oh, I need to make this into a video now and review it or whatnot? Or is it more just like you want to make these certain kind of videos and you find different games to fill those the games to be like a vessel for your video creation or get your voice out there or whatnot? Like how do you get your inspiration for what you make, basically?
A lot of it comes from inherent passion for a particular game. I would say like Spider-Man is because I really like Spider-Man.
Of
So,
course.
it's I was excited about the game coming out, so I want to talk about those. Beyond that, there will sometimes just be games that I find super interesting, or games that I grew up with. Treasure Planet on the PS2 was a review that I really loved working on, because that's a game that I had as a kid, and I have a lot of really fond memories of. And it's one of those things where it's like I either want to share this with people who didn't even know this existed, or just kind of excite the people that were like, "Hey, I had that when I was younger."
Yeah.
Um,
I
and
always love
then
seeing those too. Like when other people do
yeah,
it and they pull out this one game from their childhood, it's like, oh, it's just nice to see like a, because everybody's got one of those games like where it's like, oh, I grew up with this and I loved it the heck out of it. Hardly
yeah.
anyone even knows it exists. But like every time I see other people do it, I'm like, you know what? Good for them. Good for them for showing them this big passion of their childhood or whatnot. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, that was like I will say that sometimes I will get struck with an idea for a game because I just find it fascinating
Sure.
and people don't talk about it enough. I'm like, I want to make a video about that. Zone of the Enders. It was a big one. Is I did a review of the Zone of the Enders, the first Zone of the Enders game, and it was probably one of my worst performing videos because people don't care about that game.
Sure.
um, uh, One other series that I was super happy to work with was Klonoa, as that's a franchise that I think is starting to get a little more into public consciousness. The cult following is starting to grow, and more and more people are starting to talk about it. But you still have the vast majority of people have no idea what it is. And I was really excited to sit down and work on those videos, but also because I spent over $200 on a copy of the original game, and I was going to make that money worth it. So,
Sure. Sure.
uh, um, uh, and I enjoy the history of things. I enjoy teaching people something they didn't know about. One of my favorite things I got to do for Metroid Month was, I believe in the Metroid 2 review, I got to talk about Zebus Invasion Order, which was a game book. It was like a choose your own adventure novel based on the original Metroid title. Um, that was released only in Japan the same year that game was released, and I never knew that existed until I was doing the reviews for the games. And
Right.
that's the sort of thing that excites me. I want to be able to talk to people about the history of the industry. Sometimes things that stem from just outside of the games. I I've always found that sort of stuff fascinating, and that was definitely something that was heavily inspired by people like Cakecore or Some Call Me Johnny, is where they kind of delve into the wider history behind the development of a game rather than
Right.
just the game itself.
So, and then after you kind of get like that spark of inspiration, is it just next straight to like writing the scripts, or is there some other kind of process that helps you formulate your words better? Like, do you find that you have to play it a certain amount of time while recording or something like that? Or,
I Before I ever start working on a script, I play a game through its entirety. Um, if if I can bear to, there have been one or two occasions in which I almost didn't finish a game for a review because I just wasn't sure how much more I could take.
right.
Um, I think the Marvel like movie tie-in games that I did earlier this year were kind of an example of that, where I got close to just quitting the Incredible Hulk because I couldn't take one more second of it. But I play them through their entirety. Sometimes it depends on my mood, really.
Sure.
Sometimes I'll sit down with a notepad, and while I'm in the middle of playing, I'll be there with my Elgato over here, and I'm sitting in front of my TV, and while I'm pausing it in between like 20 to 30 minute segments, while it's rendering out those last videos I just got done recording, I'll start jotting down notes based on what I've played. Sometimes it will delve into like just quick ideas of things I wanna touch on. Is like running speed does not translate into speed and distance while jumping.
Right.
That's weird. And then sometimes I'll get so fed up that by the time I get to the end of the page of notes, I just start scribbling obscenities about my experience.
Of course.
It's
And that makes a director's cut, right? Go to his Patreon, find all the obscenities that he writes down,
Yeah,
About specific games.
that's the Snyder cut. Actually, I do offer my scripts as a Patreon reward because sometimes there are jokes or ideas that I will have in a script that never make it into a video.
Hey there. You just watched a clip from my creative podcast. If you'd like to check out the full episode, you can support me over on Patreon, and if not, you can subscribe to check out more clips coming here soon.